Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki
Jai.
Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. Offer our deep gratitude to Bhagwan for giving us this gift of grace, to be able to sing His name for 1 hour. It's no small grace, because there could have been 100 excuses for not being able to be present, not being able to sing. People are generally busy with this and that. The mind, being what it is, a trickster, could easily justify everything. And we could have easily lost this opportunity. So we thank again and again for allowing us to sing His name without any excuse. We have been having some glimpses of Bhagwan, where He comes to the rescue of people. He guides and protects. Even today, till this moment, and He will go on doing it for centuries to come. When Bhagwan talked about his ashram, when he was sitting in the Parnashala, he said, he declared loudly, with such passion in his voice, this ashram will last for centuries and centuries. My Father has filled up this place with His power and grace. Those people who enter this ashram will be able to feel something. He said, even the dunce, the dull-headed, would be able to feel something of Father, once they enter this place here. And this place will last for centuries and centuries. Now we should come to the episode where Shri Haalasyam and his wife, young couple at that time, they were staying in Tiruvannamalai and they visited the Arunachaleshwara Temple. They were staying in Erode and they would come to Tiruvannamalai, and once they had come with a young child of only 2 years, the baby girl, her mother was carrying her, So she Haalasyam, his wife and the child of 2 years. They were standing in some place, the outer corridor of the temple. Suddenly a disheveled, a man with disheveled hair and in rags, dirty rags, that appeared in front of them and said to the mother, "Mother, please give the child in my hand. Remove the frock and give her to me." The mother got angry. The mother got very upset. She was frightened. Immediately she hid herself and the baby behind her husband. Shri Haalasyam stood there transfixed, staring at this disheveled man. Oh, good. He looked at him, and again this beggar with his blazing eyes said to the mother, "Mother, please give the child in this beggar's hand. Remove her frock and give her to me." Ordinarily, this would have sounded very strange to people, that a beggar in rags should appear all of a sudden and ask for the child. What would people think? And that too without any frock. But somehow Shri Haalasyam was fascinated. It was as though he was obeying some divine command. He could not say no to the strange-looking man. So he promptly removed the dress of the child and gave the girl, the baby girl, in the hands of Bhagwan. Bhagwan held it in one hand and with the other, especially the thumb, he put the thumb between the two eyebrows of the baby girl and pressed it hard. And after that, he stroked the baby from head to foot and then promptly handed it back to the parents, walked away. So they were stunned. They just stood there looking on, not knowing who this man was and why he should demand to have the child in hand, and what followed after that, his touching the spot between the two eyebrows. Everything seemed strange. They could not account for it in any way, and they left. But somehow Shri Haalasyam felt at times overwhelmed by the thought of this beggar. He was drawn to him, and later they came to know this was Yogi Ramsuratkumar, a great Mahatma, and they began to visit him. 10 years after, she was a schoolgirl at the time now. She was probably 12 years. And the schoolgirl was walking on the road. A lorry came at a great speed and hit her, thrown up in the air and landed on a heap of the blue metal, which had been heaped there probably for building some building. And we all know it's a common experience how this blue metal would look, those small granite stones with sharp edges. And one of them hit the girl between the spot between the two eyebrows, exactly where Bhagawan touched the girl 10 years before. Strangely, the girl was not injured in any other place except on the spot. She came home, she cried and described, and then of course she said, it looked, when I was thrown up in the air and landed on the blue metal, it looked as though somebody was there stretching their hands, and those hands held me, supported me, it cushioned me. They were surprised and they knew, by then they knew the glory of Yogi Ramsuratkumar, so immediately they rushed to him. And with tears, they said what happened to her. The only question Bhagawan asked this girl, did you feel the support of somebody? Did you feel that somebody was holding you when you were about to land down on the heap of the stones? Did you feel the hands of somebody supporting you? The girl said, yes, yes. I felt somebody was holding me. I fell into the hands of somebody, was cushioned against those hard blue metals. So Bhagwan knew, even 10 years before, when he had one look at the girl, he knew what was going to happen to the girl, and he saved her. Anything could have happened to this girl. So Shri Haalasyam became such a devotee, ardent devotee, and till the very end of his life, he kept coming to the ashram. He was limping, he was not able to walk properly, but still he would take an auto and come all the way to the ashram from the town every Thursday promptly to do the puja in front of Bhagwan's shrine. And he would not take fees for the auto, he would pay himself. He was serving Bhagwan with such devotion. Now let's shift to another scene. Shri Mahalingam of Aruppukottai. He came to know about Bhagwan, Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar, through his aunt who lived at the time in Tuticorin. Srimati Rajeshwari Amma told many people about Bhagwan. At the time, Mahalingam had a dry cough for a long time, persisting dry cough for almost 6 months. It would not leave him. Of course, he showed some doctor and then began to take some tablets. But once he heard something about Yogi Ramsuratkumar from his aunt, something happened to him. He felt very much drawn to this Mahatma, and he stopped taking the tablets. Somehow he developed faith that he would take care of Mahalingam. And then at one point, the whole family, Mahalingam's whole family visited Bhagwan. Then his aunt from Tuticorin, she said, Swami, after hearing about you, he stopped taking tablets. The persistent dry cough would not leave him. He is still suffering. Then Bhagwan looked at Mahalingam and said, this beggar is no doctor. And then kept quiet for some time. Another family had come there and they were also seated in front of Bhagwan. Suddenly, Bhagwan looked around and asked, is there anybody here who takes raw milk? And the family, the man from the family said, "Yes, Swamiji, I took the raw eggs and raw milk." He said he was having dry cough for quite some time, and his mother gave this raw egg followed by raw milk. And that cured him completely. And then Bhagawan didn't say anything. He soon left all those people. So when they came out, Mahalingam did not even hear properly because he was seated in the back. But his aunt told him, "Mali, Bhagwan has given a medicine for you." She said, "You take raw egg and raw milk." But when he went back, the family was afraid. They would not give him that. They said, no, you should not take it. So what he did was, secretly, without letting his people know, he took a raw egg with raw milk, and Mahalingam declares that within minutes the dry cough stopped and never came. So he knew through a personal experience about the greatness of our Bhagwan. When those people had come to the ashram, once Dr. K.G. Yesudas had come, the popular singer, the Carnatic musician, and also a playback singer. He had come with his family to have darshan of Bhagwan in the dining hall. At the time, Bhagwan was giving darshan in the dining hall. After darshan, usually people would gather and share their experiences of Bhagwan. So after the darshan was over, Mahalingam approached Shri Yesudas and asked him how he came to know about Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan. Dr. Yesudas said, when he was only 13 years old, he was living in poverty. He did not have any money. He used to go in the streets singing and beg for food and money. Once it happened, despite much singing, he did not get any food at all, and he fainted in the street itself. Then he had a dream, and in the dream, he dreamed that she was falling down from the peak of a hill. And when he thought he was going to strike the ground and go to pieces, there was this old man standing there and held him before touching the ground. He held this 13-year-old boy in his hand. So just before that, Yesudas saw the face of this man, the old man, in whose hands he was. He fell into it. He was screaming while rolling down the hill. And suddenly this man was there protecting him, cushioning him. He did not go to pieces as he imagined. He was not even hit by the ground. He was held by those saving hands of Bhagawan. After that he forgot the dream. He did not even remember much. But one day in the 70s, he had already become very popular in Tamil Nadu, Kerala. He became a well-reputed singer. He was invited to Tiruvannamalai to sing, to do some concert. And for his concert, he wanted a boy's voice, to sing with him. So he was in search of a boy after he came to Tiruvannamalai. Some people told him, it's very difficult, but you go see this Mahatma, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and something may happen to you. So that is how he visited Bhagwan. As soon as Bhagwan saw him, Bhagwan invited him. He went and sat in front of Bhagwan. And then Dr. Yesudas started crying. He was crying and crying while Bhagwan laughed and laughed. That inimitable laughter of his. A few minutes passed, and then Bhagwan said, "Oh, Yesudas is remembering that incident." And again he laughed and laughed. And Yesudas, looking at him, looking at his face, with folded hands, was still crying. And then Bhagwan gave them prasad, finally left them. When Yesudas came out, those people, the organizers, asked him why he was crying and why Swami was laughing. Then Shri Yesudas narrated the story when he was 13 years, he was wandering in the streets, and how he fainted, and how he had a dream in which he was falling from the peak of a hill, and how he was held by an old man. And now when he visited Swami, he knew that face, he could not forget it. And he knew it was Swami who held him before this 13-year-old boy, Yesudas, hit the ground. So he said that he was crying because he knew this was the face. When he did not know anything at all about Yogi Ramsuratkumar, he had come to his rescue. Though it was only a dream, it looked like a dream. He did not know what it was exactly. It seemed very symbolic. It seemed like a vision. He knew that there was this protecting hand of Yogi Ramsuratkumar always in his life. And later, Shri Yesudas also said that he had brought his son. His son was complaining, a pain in the neck. It was aching and he was not able to do anything. And the boy was crying and crying, unable to bear the pain. And so Dr. Yesudas brought his son to Swami, and without asking anything, Bhagwan called that boy to sit near him and began to stroke the neck of this boy, Shri Yesudas' son. And after that, the son never got the pain again. He was killed. So you see, in both the incidents, both the experiences of the devotees, how Bhagwan came to their rescue. When they had a fall, Bhagwan was promptly there to hold them before hitting the ground, supporting them. Now this is what Bhagwan is doing to all of us in our life. There are many, many falls. Before we hit it worse, he is there with his stretched hands to save us. We may have to go through some acute suffering because of our past karma, and yet Bhagwan is there immediately. You can be very sure once you take refuge at the feet of a holy Mahatma, they would remove 75% of your suffering. They would take it upon themselves. You may have to go through only 20-25%, but sometimes even that proves to be too much for us, that we scream. And we say, "Oh Bhagwan, why would you give me this kind of difficulty? Why do you make me suffer like this? I keep chanting your name, I depend